Browntown, danger, move out, drug dealers, motels where people go to die. Now, this should be one of my more controversial videos. I found this map on hoodmaps.com, and it's kind of like a funny, stereotypical view of different Calgary neighborhoods. And I'll go through them here with you and give you my thoughts if they're correct or not. And I'll start off here north of the city in Airdrie. So I'm just going to skip up here to Airdrie, and they've got it labeled as trade school dropouts. Now, I don't know if I agree with this. Airdrie is maybe a bit more blue-collar compared to Calgary, but it's still a bedroom community, very family-friendly. I wouldn't describe it as a trade school dropout jurisdiction. A nice place, very family-friendly. I don't agree with that one. And now, coming into Calgary from the QE2 highway right here, big mall, second mall no one goes to. It's kind of funny. I actually went to this mall yesterday, the second mall no one goes to, and it was my first time and it was very empty. I was just killing time, so that's why I stopped into it. But the big mall refers to Cross Iron Mills. This is the biggest mall in the Calgary area. This whole area is not residential. This is more like big malls. You've got casinos, Costco's, big box chain stores around here. It's a good shopping area. You'll see like RV stores and stuff like that. And now I'm going to skip over here to Northwest Calgary. And I'm going to zoom in here. First on this area. Super inconvenient area, more terrible suburbia, 20 minutes to downtown at 2 a.m. and 200 kilometers per hour, and landfill. Now, a lot of this, some is correct, some isn't correct. Super inconvenient area. It does take some time to get here, but the roads are quite good in the Northwest. You've got lots of easy access roads like the Stony Trail. You've got Crowchild, Sarcee, Shaganappy. It's easy to get around the northwest, sorry. So it's not that inconvenient, but it is far from downtown. It might be 20 kilometers or so to get to downtown. So 20 minutes to downtown at 2 a.m. and 200 kilometers an hour. I'd say that's probably true. Maybe during rush hour, it might take you 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes to get to downtown. More terrible suburbia. I would say this is correct. Not just in this area, all over Calgary. I find all of the homes in the suburbs look the same. They're all 2 stories, front attached garage, 3 bedrooms above grade, 1,800 square feet. They're all quite similar, and especially in this area. And landfill. Now, I believe that Citadel, this yellow neighborhood you see right here, I believe this is built on a past landfill, and I think there is still one over here. I'm not sure if they're getting rid of it, but that's true. There was a landfill here at one point. Let's go over here to this area. So this is kind of like the north central part of the city. Shady co-op, white trash, smells like weed, drug dealers, borderline white tish, I think they spelled it wrong. Should be borderline white trash, I'm assuming. Chinese people, sonic ring, but not as cool. So let's tackle this. White trash. I don't agree with this. This part of Calgary is very ethnic. It's not necessarily like a predominantly white neighborhood. It's got everything here. It's not just white people. And I would say whites are actually maybe a minority in this area. So I don't believe that. Shady co-op. I don't know what they're referring to there. It doesn't seem that bad to me. Smells like weed. I've never noticed it myself. Drug dealers. I don't do drugs, so I'm not really... I can't really comment too much on that. Borderline white trash. Again, this is not a very white neighborhood, so I don't believe that. Chinese people. Yes, this part of Calgary, there's definitely a lot of Chinese people, especially in this like Sandstone Valley area, and as you go west into Edgemont and the Hamptons. Sonic ring, but not as cool. So this one is kind of funny. We had this artwork program in Calgary where someone came up with the idea to make a blue ring as a piece of art, and there's nothing to it. It's just a circle. It's like a blue telephone pole that's just circular. And it cost a lot of money, and it's been very controversial. But that blue ring is located over here. Rich and Asians for sure. Edgemont and the Hamptons, these are rich neighborhoods, and I find the Chinese seem to really like these neighborhoods. Burb life, yeah, Citadel is definitely kind of similar to these areas up here, maybe a bit older, but definitely very suburban. Rich neighborhood, bad school. Now, I don't agree with this one. I would say that this part of the Northwest isn't as wealthy as this part of the Northwest. I would say Edgemont and the Hamptons The homes are more expensive than in these areas. I mean, there are pockets in here around the lake that are quite pricey, but overall, I would say Hawkwood and Arbor Lake is typical for the Northwest, not that expensive. And I'd say Ranchlands is probably the most affordable neighborhood in the Northwest. So this one I don't agree with. Windy. I find all of Northwest Calgary to be kind of windy, so that I agree with. McMansions this way. This refers to Bears Paw, which is this chunk of Calgary right here. It's actually out of the city limits. These are where you'll find 2-acre parcels of land with very expensive acreages. So that's McMansions. I do agree with that. You've reached the end of the line. This refers to the C train line, I believe, and Tuscany is the last stop, which is the stop should be somewhere over here. I believe that's what they're referring to. Let's move further south here. So not Bears Paw anymore. So this part of Calgary is referred to as Springbank, and it's very similar to Bears Paw, but it's not Bears Paw. I think that's what they're referring to. The Boom Boom Room. I have no idea what they're referring to there. 2 a.m., I know a place. I think this refers to young couples who are going to make out in their car, and there's like a hill over here, North Hill, and there's like a viewpoint of Calgary. I'm pretty sure that's what that's referring to. Wow, such a nice park. This is Bowness Park. It is a very nice park, so I do agree with this. And around the university, we've got school bros. I think this just refers to kids that are going to school. Motels where people go to die. So around McMahon Stadium, where the Stampeders play, there's lots of motels. Quite a few around this part of Calgary. I don't know why they refer to it as places where people go to die, but there are lots of hotels around here. Sausage Fest. I don't know what they're getting at here for this part of town. Steamy car windows and a nice view. This goes along with the one at 2 a.m. I know a place. This is where couples go for views of the city in their cars along 14th Street by Nose Hill Park. And for the north central part of the city, we have Lock Your Car Doors. Now, this area is just kind of normal. It's not low end, it's not super high end. I don't find it that dangerous. Definitely nicer than the northeast part of the city. Fine dining. I don't know if I believe this. Like, most of the restaurants I've seen around here are like fast food restaurants, so I don't know if this is a fine dining neighborhood. Normal, semi-poor. Like what I just said, it's just a normal part of Calgary. It's not super fancy. It's not super poor. Just kind of normal. Lock your car doors again. And drugs. I don't think there's that many drugs in this part of Calgary, but again, I don't do drugs, so I'm not part of that community, so I'm not too sure, to be honest. And I'm going to head into the northeast part of Calgary now. Now, this part of Calgary has the most stigma, so this should be somewhat fun. Let's take a look. Drivers causing Deerfoot chaos. Yeah, Deerfoot Trail, this highway right here. How it connects to McKnight is a bit of a headache. They are working on it right now, but it's a bit annoying. So there is some highway headache around here. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. So this part of town, Little India, Indians, Big India. There's Browntown up here. I saw Browntown. This part of Calgary is very ethnic, and Indians are moving into this area en masse, it seems like. So it is becoming Little India. You got Middle Eastern people, again, very ethnic. You'll see Middle Eastern, you'll see Filipinos, you'll see Indians. All sorts of different ethnicities are in this part of Calgary. Don't know how to drive area. Well, there are lots of newcomers to this part of Calgary, and many of them, I'm assuming, haven't driven in the snow before, so I'd say this is probably correct. Wannabe goons and some actual goons. I don't know about this area being that bad. There are other areas around Marlborough that might be a bit more dangerous, but we'll get there. So moving south, again, Indians, goons, Little India, Golden State ripoff. I don't know what this refers to. Danger, move out. You know, I used to live in this area, and there is more crime in this part of Calgary than anywhere else in the city, as far as I'm concerned. I had someone smash my car in a hit and run, and they sped off, and my insurance wouldn't cover it. And that was on Rundlehorn Drive right here in Pine Ridge. So there is more crime in this part of Calgary. But again, Calgary is a very safe place. It's just this part of Calgary has more crime than others. Scary at night. Now, I find this part of Calgary is a bit more commercial than it is residential. I don't find it that scary at night here. I think this should be moved over to like the Forest Lawn area down here. Thug life, yeah, again, you'll find more crime in this part of Calgary than anywhere else. Dangerous community, leave. It's pretty funny. This part of Calgary, it does have the reputation as being one of the more, it's not as desirable as other parts of Calgary. There's more crime than other areas. I don't find it that dangerous, to be honest, and there are some good people living here. I've sold a few properties in the Forest Lawn area. But it has that reputation, though, as being one of the worst neighborhoods in Calgary. And the Forest Lawn, Dover, Aaronwoods area, they're referring to it as white trash. A bit harsh, but there are some nice people in this area as well. There are lots of white people in this area, and it's definitely more affordable than other parts of Calgary. And there is more crime. Like I used to go to the hockey rink here in Aaronwoods, and you'd always make sure to lock your doors in Aaronwoods. But again, I'll go to any part of Calgary at any time, and I don't really worry that much. All right, let's talk about the inner city now. So we've got Old People Mall. This refers to North Hill Mall. There's a few towers that are old folks' homes. So that's what that refers to. Gas Bros. I believe this refers to some very fancy neighborhoods overlooking downtown that are mostly bought by oil executives with that kind of money. Little Italy. This refers to Bridgeland. There were lots of Italian migrants at one point, and there are still lots of Italian restaurants in this part of Calgary. Rich hipsters in the Kensington area. There's more than just hipsters, but I guess you'll find them here. Don't Feed the Ducks. This refers to Princess Island Park right here. Very nice urban park, and there are lots of geese and ducks around here. Crack Max. So along the C train line, I think it's 8th Street and 7th Avenue, there's a McDonald's, and it's notorious for just having the worst clientele. You'll see a lot of druggies and homeless and stuff like that. That's why we call it Crack Max. The soil gives you cancer here. So there was some kind of plant here at some point, and they had some kind of spill or something like that, and now the soil is contaminated. The Calgary Flames tried to build their next arena here, but because of I think it's creosote or something like that, they decided not to. But it's still there. It needs to be cleaned up. Apartments, yeah, this is the Beltline. You'll see lots of apartments. Pretend rich, this refers to Scarborough. Now, Scarborough is a rich neighborhood. It just might not be as rich as areas in here that we'll get to, but also very nice. Rich people, yes, definitely Upper Mount Royal. This is one of the richest neighborhoods in Calgary. Next up is druggies. Now, this is the Beltline. This is like the most condensely built up area of Calgary. It's kind of like the Manhattan of Calgary. You'll find all the condos, bars, and restaurants. There are some druggies for sure, but I think I would describe this area as more of like the Manhattan of Calgary versus druggies. Good food. This is in Chinatown. I like Chinese food, so I definitely agree with this. Good food except this bit. This is mostly just bridges, so it's not maybe as nice as this part of Chinatown. And moving along, Cadillac. I have no idea what this refers to. Yeehaw, this refers to the Calgary Stampede, which is around here. Remember the girl getting Eiffel Towered? There's some crazy things that happen in the Calgary Stampede. I won't get too much into that one. Grad photos and teenagers making out. Yeah, you can see that around here. Englewood hipsters. Yeah, Englewood's a very hipster type area. Lots of bars, restaurants, some cool shops. Tourists and NIMBYs as well. Now, I don't know what a NIMBY is, so I'm not going to comment on that. Yeah, it's white. There's a barbecue every week. Yeah, I'd say you'd probably find a lot of barbecues in this part of Englewood. It seems like it would happen there. Nice view. I've shot many of my real estate videos from this vantage point up here and over here. So there are nice views overlooking downtown. Scary line. Yes, this part of the C train, it can be a bit rough. There's a lot of homeless. There's a homeless shelter around here, and you will find some homeless people around here. And these stations can get a bit rough. They are looking to improve it, but at the moment they can be a bit rough. And I'm going to skip over here to the west side just briefly. And the first one here, Rich AF. Now I know what it stands for. I just don't want to get canceled here on YouTube. This is definitely a very rich part of Calgary. New money and lots of it. This is probably the most desirable part of the city for a lot of people. This part of Calgary is one of the most desirable, very expensive, very scenic. This is not the land. This is Glendale. I have no idea what that refers to. And moving along here, let's talk about just south of the downtown. Expensive AF homes, yeah, Altadore, you'll find some really nice properties in here too. Where the popular girls become nurses. I think this refers to Mount Royal University. That's where you'll find a lot of students. And now let's talk about the south parts of the city and rich kids who think they have it tough. This is like the Braeside, Cedar Brae area. I don't know if this area is that rich. There are parts of like Bayview and Eagle Ridge and stuff like that that are rich, but this part of town is not that wealthy. So I don't know if I agree with that one. Hockey boys and Mormons. I mean, I used to play hockey around here. I am not Mormon though. I don't know that many Mormons in Calgary, but they must be around. Old people and infills, grumpy old folks. Most that I've met in this area have been pretty nice, so I don't know if they're grumpy there, but there are some old-timers in this part of Calgary, old white people in Riverbend. I lived there at one point, and it did seem like there were a few older people that were in Riverbend, for sure. And going further south, soccer moms. Yeah, it becomes very very residential in this part of Calgary, and definitely a lot of soccer moms, kids playing hockey, just a very family-friendly part of the city. This is kind of funny. Philippines, for whatever reason, Filipinos love this area. It's called Evergreen. And I was actually just in the Philippines for 2 weeks, late December to the mid-January. And at my hotel in the pool, there was actually someone from Calgary, and they were Filipino, and they lived in Evergreen. So it's definitely a thing. I've sold a few Filipinos in this part of town. For whatever reason, they seem to like it there. So I think this one is true. Young families, young damlies. I don't know why they call it damly, not family. Maybe that's a thing. I'm not that cool, I guess. But there are lots of young families in this part of Calgary, definitely. Somehow still Calgary. It is getting pretty far away from the city at this point. At least half an hour to get to downtown from here. Latin Americans everywhere. Now, I haven't seen that, so I don't know if that's true or not. This area is still so brand new, though, so maybe there's a thing there about Latin Americans, but I haven't seen it yet. Ain't no one wasting gas visiting you. Again, it gets pretty far away from Calgary here at this point. There's houses out here. Yeah, I guess we're talking about the outskirts of the city. Young families. This whole part of town has a younger vibe, younger families. And lastly, moving into the southeast, we've got domestic dispute in Deer Ridge. I don't know, I actually grew up in Deer Ridge from grade 1 to grade 5, and it wasn't that bad, but it has gotten a little bit run down lately compared to like the 90s. Mackenzie Lake, Mackenzie Town, one long playground zone. Yes, that's true. There are long playground zones in this part of Calgary. Very family-friendly, very popular. Kids on the road. Again, young families, kids. Very family-friendly part of Calgary. There's houses out here. Again, this is getting pretty far away from the city. Young families, ain't no one wasting gas visiting you. Again, very far away from downtown. Well, there you have it. That's my take on the Hood Maps version of Calgary. I think some things are accurate, some aren't. And if you are watching this, thinking about making a move, and you have some questions about some of these neighborhoods, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to help you out. And I will see you on the next video.